Have you ever wondered what somebody thinks about when they're in an actual fight? In this video, I'm gonna break down everything, all my thoughts, all my emotions during one of my first fights ever that I had in New York City. Let's get right into it.
I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso.
So like I said, one of my first fights ever I had in New York City, but leading up to this, I had a few fights in California. So I actually used to live in Southern California. I had a few cage fights. I was in the amateur MMA scene, and I had a few boxing matches. I actually fought in Westminster at Grandpa's Boxing Gym, South Coast Kickboxing, but the show was called Old Dogs. I actually fought in the Gene Lewis tournament in Arizona as well. But this was my first time in New York City, and it's iconic because it's at the world famous Gleasons gym. And if you don't know, Gleasons is actually super famous gym in Brooklyn, New York, one of the oldest gyms in New York City. Mike Tyson's trained there, Muhammad Ali has trained there, Paulie Malignaggi, my coach, two-time world champion Joan Guzman. And speaking of preparation for this fight, Joan put me through the most intense training camp. If you guys want me to do a little video on Joan and our training, I'm more than willing to do that. But he put me through super extensive and intense training camp, probably the best training camp I've ever had. Really prepared. And again, it was my first fight in New York at the iconic Gleasons gym. Let's go right into this. It's a 3-rounder. I was fighting at 165 pounds in the novice division. This was my second to last fight in the novice division. My opponent, Michael Gay. And here I am in the short shorts thinking I'm like Mike Tyson or something. And I don't know what's up with these cameras that they be filming with. All right. So we begin the fight. I really want to get my front hand going right there. So I pumped the jab in the front hook, but I saw him coming in a little aggressive at me, and that's when I wanted to counter with my right hand a little early. But again, I'm going back onto my jab. Trying to stay nice and relaxed, nice and loose. Let my experience take over. Jab to the body. Couple check hooks right there. And back on that jab to the body. Every now and then he'd kind of come in a little aggressive on me, and I remember throwing the right hand. So, I don't know if you saw that right there. I wanted to test and feel his power a little bit. Anytime you go into a fight, anyone that tells you that they're never scared of their opponent is a liar. I knew this guy was a little bit aggressive. I wanted to feel his power though, to kind of confront my fear and see how hard this guy actually hit. So if you could tell, I shelled up a little bit. Couple feints, jab the body, right hand. Right here, I shelled up a little bit, kind of inviting him to throw at me. And you can see I nod my head a little, saying he didn't have any power behind anything. And that's when I started to let my hands go a little bit more and get a little more aggressive. Pull, right hand, left hook. Every time I go into that high guard, I was kind of inviting him, trying to set a little trap. Horrible footwork by me right there, tripping up all over my feet. I don't want to talk about it. Checking him with the hook. And now I was getting overly aggressive and I got caught going in. Back on my jab, back on my front hand, and getting back on my footwork. I think when I got, ooh, nice straight right hand right there. I think when I got a little aggressive early in the round, I felt his power a little bit. Hence why I started to pull back on my punches a little bit more and not open myself up. It may not look like much, like we're wearing headgear, we're wearing 12-ounce gloves, but I'm telling you, like, you feel the punches, especially when they're throwing everything, putting their full body behind everything they got into those punches. You really feel. Feint, left hook, straight right hand, and use my footwork to evade again. So, super dangerous move I was just doing right there. Slipping to my backhand and shooting the right hand. But again, I felt confident in my skills. leading up to it, and feeling his power. Although I felt his power earlier, I didn't feel too threatened by it. So I was trying to bait him coming in now, slipping one of his jabs and coming back with a straight right hand. Again, it's a super, super dangerous counterpunch, because if he were to throw a jab cross versus a jab, I would eat a right hand the same time I would be throwing mine. Just keep that in mind if you use that in your sparring or your own fights. Starting to get aggressive on me, trying to let my hands go. Shooting a couple feints again. Go back to my high guard. Anytime I go high guard, I'm inviting him to come in ready to counter him. Meaning if I feel like I block something, I'm going to shoot something right away. Jumping in, getting back on my jab. And I think he thought the round was over. He was almost gave me a high five right there, and then he kind of went at it for a few seconds. So I'm trying to act like I'm not tired here, but I'm tired. You see Joanne pulling my hands off of the ropes, trying me not show it. Normally my memory is really good, so I'm trying to think what he was telling me back in the corner. I think he was telling me to feint more and to use my jab more. And honestly, if I was cornering myself, I would have definitely used the same advice. Man, this camera quality is just horrible. He's back on his jab. Yep, there we go. I double up the jab and let my hands go a little bit. High guard, and I start to put the pressure on. Boom. I remember that. Let's go back to that. So I got a little aggressive on my opponent, letting my hands go a little bit, and in turn, I opened up a little too much. I dropped my left hand right here as I threw my right, and he hit me with a good straight right hand right there. Kind of dazed me a little bit, but I shook it off, and I went back to my high guard. Inviting him to come in and countering him right there. So again, every time he would hit me and I feel it, I was triggered, and I'm trained for this, to just let my hands go like a button. Boom, boom. Ooh, I don't know why I paused right there. Get back on my jab. And I don't know if you could see, but right there, right in the corner is Joanne's brother, my other coach, Joselito. I saw it at the corner of my eye, so check this out. If you could see right there, he's telling me to, I'll rewind that again. He's right here. I can see him at the corner of my eye. He's telling me to throw jab, right, uppercut. And unfortunately, I miss it, but at least I tried. And nothing worse for a coach than to tell his fighter to do something and the fighter doesn't even try. So I wanted to show him I was listening. Boom. Getting back on that 1-2. Double up the jab. So you see, anytime I doubled up my jab, my combinations would land super, super clean. Anytime I try to come in wild with some random ass combinations, I would end up eating a punch or not be as successful with my aggressiveness. Ooh, working the body. One of my favorite combinations right here to throw when I'm on the inside. Touch to the head, rip to the body. Watch my left side right here. Right here. Touch to the head, rip to the body. Fortunately, I was a little off balance. I didn't get proper leverage on it. Ugly. What are you throwing, Jer? Starting to get a little tired. Pump the jab here again. Get back on my bicycle. Feeling myself a little bit. Shooting the double jab. Letting my left hook right hand go. But again, I felt his right hand earlier. I don't want to open up too much. Because in boxing, one punch could change the game. 2 rounds in the books. I remember going back into the corner telling myself, oh, I am piecing this guy up, but do not get cocky because I could get caught up with it. Remember Joanne telling me to use my jab. Keep using my jab. As simple as that, right? As easy as it sounds. Keep using your jab. Final round. Here it is. I knew I really wanted to solidify. I ate another right hand right there. Let's go watch that. I knew I wanted to solidify the fight and really put a stamp on it unanimously. Again, but what happens when I open up too much and I don't do it smartly, I get hit. And that right hand dazed me, and now he starts to put the pressure on me again. Luckily, my training paid off. We train a lot of counter punching, a lot of quick reflexes against aggressive opponents. That's super, super key to counter punch and to use the jab. Pushing forward. There's that touch to the head, rip to the body again. Touch and rip, yep. That combination, I gotta credit that to one of my older boxing coaches in California, Mario Angelito. Real Mexican style boxing coach. He would put me down with that shot. So of course I had to learn how to throw it as well. Getting back on my jab. So you could tell he came out aggressive that last round to try to make another run at it. Good right hand by Michael. Getting back on my jab. But I felt like my counter punching and my jab and me pressing forward at the little openings kind of kept him off of me a little bit. His attack. There's my feints, which I wish I did more, and it opened me up for a front hook. You know, straight right hand down the middle. Back on my feints. Oh, I got caught. Left hand's way too low right there. Got too cocky. Yeah, don't do that. Don't just shell up and sit on the ropes like I just did. 10 seconds. Go, Jer. Put a stamp on that. So I have been done dirty on a few decisions in my opinion. So in my head, I was like, oh, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't give me the decision right here. Especially because I was moving around the ring a lot and not being the aggressor as most judges like in amateur boxing matches. But for the most part, I felt confident. I miss the OG Gleasons. Hey, that was my first win in New York City, and honestly, that was probably one of the best training camps I've ever had. Joanne, he had just recently retired, and you know, I was able to bless enough to link up with him as a coach. I'm going to do a video soon. Highlighting some of our training and his history as a fighter. He was a phenomenal amateur fighter, a 2-time world champion. So I definitely want to break that down. If you like this kind of video, I'm going to keep putting out more content like this, breaking down my fights, other fights that I like, upcoming fighters, break down anything. Go ahead and leave it in the comments. If you like my content, if you like my channel, I'd be super grateful if you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notifications as well, so you know when anytime I have good content coming on. And yeah, I hope you like this little breakdown of my mindset through one of my favorite fights that I've had. Until next time, peace.
I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso.